Okay, and we are live. Hey guys, welcome to another video. It's been a while that we have done this live session. Um, I have Raj here with me. He's not going to turn on his mic for a while. We'll just wait for 5 to 6 minutes, not even 5 minutes, like 4 to 5 minutes for everyone to join in, so that we don't miss like nobody misses the boat on any of the answers which we are going to give you today. I think it's been like 4 to 5 months I've done a live session, and it's feels good to be back. Hi everyone. Hi Karthik. Hi Shubham. Hi Madhuresh. Hi Tejas. Hi Devendra. uh, Hi Amog. What's up? Hi Sumok. Hey. Hi. Okay, 85 people watching now. Hi Shaurya, Sumit, Tejaswini. Hi. Hey, they just going good, man, going good. Hey, Mohit. Okay, Surya, if you have mailed you a query recently, I'll answer that because I've been answering my emails, all of them almost. If I see a question which is very general, I might not. And if it is shortlisting related questions, I might not either because it just takes a lot of time to even look at it. Hi, Akant. Hi, Naveen. Hey, Sajan. Hey, Gopi. What's up? Nisar, Kanav, hi. Komal, Sahil, Rishika, Sujit, Sonak. Let me make a Instagram story that I'm live. I think I'm live like after a long time. So it's worthwhile to do that quickly. Hey guys, I'm live on YouTube. We're taking in questions related to MIS. Raj is here with me. He is a student in UC Berkeley. That's him right there. He's not yet on the live session, but swipe up to join. Live. What did I just? Why? Okay. Hi, Sujit. Hi, everyone. Hi. How is everyone doing? Let me quickly just make the Instagram story and then we'll get back to the live session. In the meantime, let me do one thing. Let me introduce you to Raj. Um, Raj is here. Raj, can you turn on your mic and introduce yourself?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I think everybody can hear you now.
Yeah. So, hey guys, I'm Raj, and I'm a student of MIS at UC Berkeley. And, this is my first year here, and I had a lot of questions about MIS before. And, that's why I'm here to answer any questions that you guys may have.
Okay. So Raj is from UC Berkeley, and I'm also going to link his Instagram, like in the middle of the this live session, and then we'll take in questions. So first question, Sumit asked, "Does MIS is a STEM course?"
Well, yeah, that's a very common question that people have. And yes, MIS is a STEM course. You are eligible for all STEM benefits when you are an MIS student. You can get the OPT extension and all STEM related jobs.
Hmm. Can you also tell me one thing? Like, okay, so let's before we take in questions, I think there will be some doubts regarding MIS. Can you give me like a quick 5 minute elevator pitch in some sense about MIS? What is MIS? What kind of jobs you can expect to get after completing a degree in MIS?
So, MIS is basically sort of a meeting point between management and computer science. When you do MIS, you do not do just coding, you do some other management related aspects as well. So generally, the people who do MIS have some sort of work experience, and after MIS, you can do jobs like software engineer, UX designer, UI designer, data scientist, cybersecurity expert, and product manager, program manager, technical product manager. So basically, what I have seen is that the same types of jobs that are available to CS students, that is MS and CS, those same types of jobs are available to MIS students. So why I choose MIS was because I did not want to do just coding. I wanted to do some other stuff as well. I wanted to learn UI design. I wanted to learn data science and the management aspect of data. That is why I took MIS. And the MIS is a gateway into the IT field. So I have people with me here who are from various backgrounds. So they are from architecture, they're from mechanical engineering, they're from electrical engineering. So you do not need to be a computer science grad to get into MIS. Of course, if you are, it helps in a lot of subjects. But if you aren't, it's a good gateway into data science and all the related aspects.
Right. Quickly, I'm just gonna. Thanks for that introduction. Like that makes complete sense. I do want to tell everyone, like, if you can hear us fine, if you can see us fine, even Raj's video quality, audio quality is fine. Can you please like the video so that we get some feedback on the picture quality here, and I know that it is working fine. Okay, so can you tell me a little bit about your profile, Raj? What did you do in your undergrad? Um, it takes a lot of effort, first of all, to get to UC Berkeley. So congratulations on that. And probably not everyone knows this, but I have been in chat with you for a while, and I know that you are a you are a TA this semester. Am I right? So you're a TA this semester, and you're going to be a TA next semester as well. So tell us the story. Like, what was your profile? How did you optimize your profile to be here?
So first I'll begin with the sort of profile I have, and then I'll sort of give you the average profile here at UC Berkeley, and then I'll tell you what I make of it and what I infer from all the data I have. So basically my GRE is 333 and my TOEFL is 119. So the TOEFL score doesn't matter for admission, but it did help when, for getting a TA, because English proficiency is important. So I had no work experience. I just graduated right now in 2018 from Pune University. My GPA was good, so I had a GPA of 3.9, and I had published a few research papers as well. I had a year-long internship during my final year project at BMC Software, and I had some extracurricular skills, so I can speak French fluently. So that's like a diversity inclusion thing here. So what I observed after coming here was that so everyone in my batch except for me has some sort of work experience. The average work experience here is 5 years. So that does not mean that you cannot get into MIS without work experience. But what I feel is that, so what I realized was that the evaluation of your profile is really holistic. So the people who have like 5-7 years of work experience, they've been working in the field for a while. So what I realized was that they do not have that great of a GRE score. The GRE scores, as in not like in 330s or so. Some who have great GRE scores, some have better GRE scores than me, and but they have work experience and they have less of a GPA than me. So what I realized was that profile evaluation is really holistic. Whatever I lack in work experience, I made up for in my GRE. That is my understanding of it. So about the TA thing, I guess everyone has to realize, I guess Parth, you already know that once you come to the US, you have to, you never have to stop fighting. You always have to be in that competition. You always have to keep on trying. So initially getting a TA was difficult for me because I was a first year grad student here. But because I had a background in computer science and my TOEFL scores were good, I could get a TA for a machine learning class. And in the US, how it works is that, so this is for everyone out there, not for Parth, because I'm guessing you already know it. In the US, how it works is that a lot of things work based on how your relationships with people are. So once I built up a good relationship with my professor, he was more than happy to offer me a TA for the next semester as well. And that's about it.
Right. Um, the point here, like which you mentioned, and it's very, I think it came in very clear, or it might have mixed in for other people, that you didn't have experience, but your GRE score and your GPA actually helped you to get into the batch of people who had 5 years of experience, 4 years of experience. Now, that is a point. Like somebody asked me, is MIS with or without experience? So, how do you categorize? Like in general, do MIS courses prefer people with experience, and why does that happen? Like, why is a course taking in people with experience? For example, in civil engineering, people with experiences will have better understanding of industry, will have better understanding on how things work on the site, and have like that'll help them to understand the subjects better, have a good catch on their case studies. So how does that matter in the case of MIS?
So, because MIS is not computer science, it's not CS, it's management information systems. So, the course has a certain management aspect as well. And although you primarily study some like the software engineering subjects, there are some management courses as well. And the jobs that people go on to take from here, they are generally not entry level jobs. I mean, it would be entry level for me because I'm an entry level student right now, but generally the jobs people go from here are like senior data scientist or senior data analyst, product manager, senior product manager, stuff like that. Now,
Right.
in that case, it would be very useful for them to have a work experience. So for example, if someone wants to be a product manager at a software company and they have, let's say, 5 years of experience at Facebook, uh, it's immensely helpful. Okay, so they can even get like promoted in Facebook, they can get a job elsewhere. It's basically they can upgrade their career and get into senior positions.
Right, right, right. Okay. There's a question saying, what's the difference between MIS and data MIS? Sorry, what's the difference between MS in data science and MIS in data science? I'm not sure. Like, I'm not aware of that question. So, does that question make sense to you? That what is the difference between MS in data science and MIS in data science? Is there a difference there?
So yeah, that makes sense. There is a lot of overlap between MIS and data science, and most of the people coming into MIS right now, as in most of the people with me at least, and at some other universities as well, they want to do data science, data analyst positions. So there's not really, as far as I know, an MIS in data science. There's an MS in data science, or there could be an MIS with data science track. So not really much of a difference. Probably what I think is that when you take an MS with data science, you get a normal MScs degree with specialized courses in data science. And when you take MIS, it's like you do some management courses and data science. But of course, as you know, the way it works in the US is that you can take any courses you want, not bound to a specific department. So I am not bound to my department. I'm taking classes in CS. One of my friends is taking an acting class, taking a theater class, another taking a German class.
Yeah.
So I don't think the degree is, when it's not that wide of a difference, like between MS in data science and MIS, it won't make that big of a difference because you can generally take any courses that are related to your field and make them count towards your degree. Of course,
Right.
I'm not concerned about the courses counting towards your degree and you want to learn, you're free to. You can take as many courses as you want. If they're related, but even from another department, they count towards your degree. So
Right, right.
I don't think there's really much of a difference in MS in data science and MIS that way.
Right. There's one question, like, I think this is a very basic question. I should put this in comments. That what was your GRE score? I believe your GRE score was 333. Is that right? And his GPA is 3.9 in terms of 4. Yeah, 9.8 in terms of 10. Right. That is correct.
Right.
So, okay. Does MIS completely replace data science, or does doing jobs in MIS will have a different track of professional line as compared to data science? Or that is a question which came up.
So that's a lot of people have asked me, a lot of my friends, my juniors have asked me whether there's a difference between jobs you get from MS and CS and MIS. So, or in this case, data science. So I would say the answer is no. Most of the MIS jobs go to like people go with positions of software engineering. And I've spoken to some people from some other universities doing MS and CS, and I haven't found much of a difference really. So it's not like this. The course is going to change the track of your career or something. You can do an MS in data science and get into a data science job, data science position. You can do an MIS and get into a data science position. The two things don't really matter. What matters is what you do during the course. So if you want to become a data scientist, what matters is what courses you take, what projects you do. Do
Mm.
you publish your work? Do you have a good GitHub repo maintained? Can you
Right.
write clean code? And have you done like good work in data science? That is what matters. Your degree is hardly what will matter. But in general terms, there is no difference between the jobs that people with MIS and people with MS in CS or MS in DS get. So it's not really a big question.
Right. Um, okay. Somebody asked which university are you from? So everyone, he's from UC Berkeley. Let's talk about sideline or let's do let's not see the questions once and talk about your experience at UC Berkeley until now. It's been almost a semester. You're gonna finish it. How busy is it? How different it is from India? And were you expecting something else? And did you get something else?
So interesting question, and yes, it has been a semester, so I think I can sufficiently expand on my
Right.
experience here now. So let me begin by saying that the coursework and the methodology is like really different from that what we had in India. So I have taken 5 courses right now, and I have a final exam for only one of those courses. For the rest of those courses, I've been submitting assignments, and I have a final project due and I have a paper due. So I'm going to be graded based on that. So basically, which is a good thing because you do not want to take all courses which have only exams and all courses which have only projects. That's like a lot of things to do at the end. So I like this method of evaluation in which just an exam doesn't decide what your grade is going to be. Some people are good learners, some are just good test takers. So they account for the fact here pretty well. Everything is well weighted, and I like that. About my experience in general at UC Berkeley is that the competition is cutthroat, and people like there is always someone who is going to be ahead of you. So basically, I took it in a positive way that always motivates me to do more. So I always felt like I still feel sometimes like I'm the underdog here because I don't have any work experience, and I have people work for 3 or years, 7 years, something like that. So I've always felt like the underdog here, which
Mm.
just motivates me to take the extra leap. So I take up an extra course. I contact professors to join in projects with them, stuff like that.
I think it also gives you, it definitely gives you like that chance to mess up and still be okay, even with the professors, because everybody is more experienced than you. So, in your batch, what's your batch size like? What's the diversity at UC Berkeley for MIS? Is it more American students, more Chinese students, more Indians? Because that's what happens at a lot of universities here, that in the master's courses there are tons of Indians, tons of Chinese, and a lot less. They say that there's a lot of diversity, but I don't see it. As compared to Europe, there's almost none here.
Well, of course, as compared to Europe, the diversity is quite less. But I would say so. My program has a batch size of 48,
Hmm.
and out of which about 9 or 10 are Indians,
Hmm.
and some of them are from ethnically Asian,
Right.
and the remaining are American. So
Right.
for the majority, the statistics say that we have people from 9 different countries this year.
Okay.
So we have people from Africa. I have a friend who's from Greece. I have a friend
Okay.
who is from France.
Hmm.
So of course, not as diverse as Europe,
Hmm.
but then again, it's a small course size. It's just 48 people,
Right.
and there's a limit to how much you can include people just for diversity.
Right. Right. Definitely. Like you don't want to undercut your own program just because of diversity. Anyway, there's this question that what's the difference between like MS in data analytics and MIS. Also, there's this course called BAIM, Business Analytics Information Management. So, what's the difference there?
So again, I'd go with the same answer that I
Mhm.
shared a few minutes back.
Right.
Uh, all of these have more or less the same coursework.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a BAIM course will
Mm-hmm.
have more of tools that you use, like visualization tools, customer management tools, enterprise ERP tools, stuff like that. And it will be more towards, it will be, so BAIM will definitely be more in a business perspective, like how do you manage your people, how do you delegate effectively, and stuff like that. um, that will be BAIM. It will of course have some data science tracks, but not as much. And what was the other thing that you asked? MS in?
That's what I asked, like MS and BAIM only. Like that was my point. The what's difference between these two? I think that makes sense. One question which comes up is, and Vikram asks here, scholarships in Berkeley. So I want to put it out, and I've mentioned it a lot of times that there's not one kind of scholarship which is available. So before you were considering I would like you to answer two questions here. One, which all universities did you apply to? And out of them, which did you get into? And second, were you considering scholarships? Did you get any funding beforehand, before even coming to the US?
So let me begin by telling what universities I applied to and what courses. So for MIS, I applied to two places, UC Berkeley and CMU. And for other universities, that is UCLA, UCSD, USC, Georgia Tech, UT Austin, and UIUC, I applied to for MSCS, the normal MSCS program. And I got into MIS both places, CMU and UC Berkeley. And for MSCS, I got into UCLA, USC, and UCSD. So why I chose UC Berkeley over all this, that's a different question altogether, and maybe we can come to that later if we have time. But for now, let me answer the burning question about scholarships. So as you said, of course, there's not one kind of scholarship. And let me be quite frank with everyone here. I did not get any sort of funding when I was offered admission into any of these universities. So if not UC Berkeley, my next choice was going to be CMU, then UCLA. So as far as the funding was concerned, I was going to pay more or less the same. Considering that I did not have any funding at that point, I was going to pay more or less the same. The way it works at UC Berkeley is that there are some fellowships available, but they're like really few and really selective. So there are only two people who have been awarded the fellowships. It's like they have some funds for fellowship and they actually want to give it to more people, but also they want the amount to count. So you cannot just give like $1,000 of fellowship will not really count for anyone towards their education. So the fellowships are awarded generally to just 2 or 3 people in a year. So that is one kind of scholarship. And the second kind of scholarship that I don't know. So we don't call it scholarship here. They just call it a remission, tuition fee remission. It's like when you do a teaching assistantship or a research assistantship. So the way it works in UC Berkeley is that if you work for 10 hours or more in a week, you get a partial tuition fee remission, and you get paid on an hourly basis. So the partial fee remission is really a good thing. It's a relief for people like us there. So it's a big amount. So for me, the amount is like $8,500 or something. I get all of those from my fees back, and I get an hourly stipend as well. And the stipend is also quite good. It's like $25 per hour, which you might think is a lot, as in which people might think it's a lot, but when you stay in California,
Right, it's nothing.
Yeah, it's nothing.
It's nothing. It's almost like, yeah, if I have to compare, I think it's around $15 or $14 of Midwest.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why it's like it's $25 an hour, but that is the cost of living here in California. So I would say that the best chance for anyone to get a scholarship, especially at UC Berkeley, but I think it goes for all universities, is if you have not been offered funding at the beginning, and as in very few people are offered funding at the beginning of a program, you can go there. You just have to go out there and look for stuff. Go look for teaching assistantships, check out their website, check out their portals, contact professors and ask, is there any research assistantship available with you? So professors have a lot of funds, and the professors here are much more responsive than the professors back in India. if even if they do not want to entertain you, they will send you an email saying that sorry, I don't have a position at this time, so you can get some closure.
Right.
You just have to go out and reach out to people, get a teaching assistantship, use your skills. So if you're a computer science undergrad, you just do like a data science or a machine learning or even an algorithms course, you can TA for that course. If you come from a different background, you can always TA in a different department. That is equally permissible and gives you the same fee remission and same stipend. So I think that's the best approach, like the best way anyone can get funding. Plus, it gives you
Definitely,
a lot of
yeah.
experience. It builds up a rapport with professors, which is a good thing.
Yeah, in a long term, that's what it matters, because the professors, even if you want to do PhD, which I'm not sure if you want to, I'm guessing, do you want to do a PhD later on?
Maybe. So I've kept
Yeah.
all my options open. I've my
Right, right, right.
options
Definitely.
open, and so.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Like if you that's important if you want to do a PhD, definitely. If you do not want to do that, I guess that's fine. Um Now what I want to ask here is, like, when you people are still in that phase of shortlisting, and I understand that you have made a video about it as well, right? But can you brief us in like 5 minutes or 5 to 7 minutes? How did you shortlist universities so that it gets cleared off?
Okay, so my focus was pretty clear. I wanted either MSNCS or MIS. So even at that point, I was confused whether I want to do like an industry job or get into research someday. That's why I applied to both places, MIS and as well as MSCS. So what I did was I checked some the QS rankings and US News rankings. I just spoke to some of seniors from my undergrad university who were doing MIS or MSNCS abroad, and I spoke to some of them. And basically, I once I gathered a list of universities and courses, I just googled them. I checked out what programs are there, what courses they offer, what's special, what's special in that university, whether you can take classes from different departments. uh, does this university, like, does the course mean that you have to take heavily business oriented courses like the MSN which you have to take a lot of business oriented and less technical courses? So that was a question that I had to eliminate some courses because of that. So they were like really business heavy. And after that, basically I had a list of like 20 universities, out of which some were just because like I liked them, and they were like really hard to get, like Cornell and Princeton. So I was just being realistic that there was no way I was going to get into Cornell and Princeton based on my profile and my scores and my projects. So I just eliminated a few of them. That brought it down to like 12 or something. And I wanted to keep it to a reasonable number, and 12 was a reasonable number. But then I realized that I was going to apply to an MSNCS here at UC Berkeley as well. But I realized that the class size is very small. It was like 20 or something. And they have like obviously they have their own undergrads. They have undergrads from MIT, they have undergrads from Stanford. So everywhere is going to be a position here. And they'll have probably stronger recommendations than me because they're their own professors here. So yeah, so basically and of course I applied to Georgia Tech and UT Austin because the fees were low. And so that's what makes them so competitive as well. So what I looked at was what the programs offered, the course structure, the fees, and I connected with people and asked them about it. Yeah, that sounds good.
Let's take one question here, that how, if you had to go back, and if you, since you're studying right now, you might understand this. um, it's easier to look back than look in the future. So when you look back, what kind of internships, how would you optimize your internships, or what kind of internships you would do essentially, so that it would be beneficial for you while applying? For a student who's sitting in second year, third year watching this video, what would you recommend, that you should do these internships, you should do this project, so that they can get benefits during the application process?
So let me begin by answering this question specific to MIS. And if there's questions, we can talk about in general as well. But let's, because we're here to talk about MIS today, I'll just talk about the MIS internships as an internship that will help you for MIS. So MIS basically has a few core tracks, and of course you can go beyond them. But the major tracks are like data science, security, cybersecurity, product management, and UI UX design. So I don't expect any second or third year students to do a product management internship, because that is, I mean, no, that would be wrong. And I don't think anyone could do that. But if you're seriously interested in one of these areas, I would recommend that you go for an internship which allows you to like play with data a lot. Uh, so some of the technical students here, they might appreciate it. Let's say you can go for projects or internships which allow you to play with Python libraries, allow you to play with NumPy, Pandas, Matplotlib, stuff like that. It can allow you to perform ETL processes, pull data, visualize data, get inferences out of data. So basically anything that gives you command over data, or if you want me to be more general, anything that will give you a good understanding of Python will be beneficial for MIS. Of course, if you do any software engineering internship like I did, mine was in BMC software. It had nothing to do with data. It was about UI UX and web technology, Angular, Django, stuff like that. So if any software engineering internship will work for MIS. But what I would suggest is that since any of them will work, I would suggest do something from which you're really going to learn a lot, because those skills will matter once you come here and start applying them, and when you apply for internships here as well. Be sure to showcase good projects in your profile. So go for an internship that gives you like really cool stuff to write on your resume, something that you can write with
which
generate.
which might stand out of the hundreds of CVs they get every year, right?
Exactly.
Okay. What about the fourth year students who can't do internships, who are only limited to their projects? Like, do you, I'm not sure if you might have, but do you have any project ideas which you can pitch in so that they can get that idea and use that as a baseline for their fourth year projects?
Okay. So fourth year projects, fourth year students cannot really do internships, and like before applying, they won't be done with any internship. Like anything, they won't have anything sizable to report on their resume. So that makes sense perfectly. And let me just tell everyone that internships are not a prerequisite. If you even, so the way I looked at it was internship puts a project on my resume, and in my case, that did put a brand name of BMC software as well. But as long as you have good project, it's not necessary that you do an internship. You can supplement your project with stuff like having a good GitHub repo with your code updated. That way they know that you're not lying. I mean, when I said BMC software, they had some way to verify whether I was actually working there and I did some work there. But if you say it's a personal project, they really have no way of verifying. So if you have like a GitHub profile, it would be really helpful, so that they can actually check. And regarding project ideas for final year students, I think that's a big decision to make. If you take too little, it won't count as much as a project. If you take too much and you can't finish, you don't have anything to report at the end. So I've been working with a lot of people here about data, and certainly I do have some ideas, but I think it would be too lengthy to describe them. That would involve a lot of description of the data, what you do with it, what could be the outcome, and what can be the deliverables and stuff like that. But I'm happy to connect with anyone who is interested later to pitch in my thoughts on their project ideas.
Right. Here, there's one question which I'd like to answer. There's a person who's asking, how would class size affect you? I see many people filtering unis by that. Let me answer. I have made a complete video about this in ranking and location. I've mentioned like how class size might affect you. I would say, like, if the class size is small, there's more. If your master's or grad school class size is small and there's like a huge undergrad population, then there are more chances of those students to get teaching assistantships. Moreover, there's less competition while you're going to career fairs as well, because there's a lot of companies who come. And if you have like 50 60 Indian students only, and then you might be competing amongst each other as compared to competing with a student from America or competing a student from another country. Uh, so in that case, his batch size is very important. Now, it's not like if there's like MIT has a batch size of 100, that'll matter because MIT is such a good school. But for example, in UTD as well, and Harsh also mentioned this previously, that there's a lot of Indian students in the computer science department, and because of that, they are facing problem while looking for jobs because they're competing amongst each other. You have to understand the fact that even the companies, even if they want to pick the best student, uh, they can't just pick like students from just one university because they even want diversity in their own work culture, because that brings in more new ideas, that brings in more brings in more fresh ideas, more people with different backgrounds. There will be clashes, um, there will be just like extremely new things popping up from here and there, and that is important, and that's how even the university market works. So that's my thought on batch sizes. um which, okay, let me see if I can pick a good question for MIs. There's a lot of questions for mechanical and computer science, but scope for scope for non-CS grads having less than 2 years of experience as software developer for MIS. What? How do you even answer that question?
That is a question that many people have, surprisingly, and it's not actually surprising because if you look at the coursework of MIS, it's mostly CS courses. So you would naturally think that you need a background of CS. But the way I understand it here is that there are people from various background, and not all of them are from CS. So I have some friends who are from a business undergraduate degree. I have some friends who are from an architecture degree, from health sciences. Yeah, surprising, but that's the way apparently how it
So
works.
you don't. Are they? I have this question for my own. Are they learning coding now, or did they did some architecture courses, but they were actually passionate about coding, and that's why they shifted to MIS? What's the deal with them?
Well, I really don't know how that works,
Right,
but I'm guessing they may have some programming background,
right, right, right.
not a formal training, but some
Yeah.
programming background. And so but their basic focus was the other degrees like architecture and health sciences and stuff like that, or design or stuff like that. Okay, so
Hmm.
they have some they so because here undergrads can study a wide variety of courses as well. It's really possible that they did take a Python programming course, whereas in India I'll never know a bachelor of architecture student who has a Python course in his syllabus.
Definitely, yeah.
But here it's not the case. So here it's basically you can't judge someone from what their background is, because although they come from architecture, they may have a strong understanding of machine learning and deep learning, maybe more than a CS undergrad. You never know
Hmm.
what courses they took. So to answer that question about whether there's scope for non-CS undergrads here, there is definitely scope. I have a lot of people who are here from electrical and electronics. So I'm speaking about India in specific. Most of them are from CS, but some of them are from electrical and electronics. Some of them has worked as consultants BI consulting, cybersecurity consulting, stuff like that. Some of them are from an electronics or electrical background, but they have worked as software developers. So they have projects to showcase in that domain. They have a good knowledge of programming. So I think if you have worked as a software developer and if like less than 2 years of software developer and you have like an electrical background, so I would still say that electrical is a sufficiently technical background, unless if you've done something like I don't know, dentistry, and you're applying for MIS, that would count as a IT in the background. But your background is not really something that they are burningly concerned about. They're concerned more about your skills, your aptitude, what projects you have done, and what your recommendations say, what is your purpose, as in what does your SOP say, stuff like that. So for everyone out there who's not a CS undergrad or who has done undergrad in some other field, and if you have some software experience, MIS is definitely an option for you, not just at UC Berkeley, but at any university in the US.
Right. Okay, let's pick this question: that um, How would you say, or since you might have attended a career fair this semester, tell me, how does the location of UC Berkeley impacts the job opportunities in your case? I think that's a very important question, because at the end, that's what everyone is looking for.
So I'd say it definitely affects a lot. I mean, in general, California is known for IT companies and Silicon Valley. And when it comes to MIS, those are the companies that are recruiting. So obviously, in all the universities in California, you have a distinct advantage because you have more companies coming in. The people the people you connect with are working in those companies. Your professors are probably working in those companies. Your professors probably have alumni there. They're probably on the board. Your seniors are probably working there. You connect with people here, and basically you have more companies coming in for the career fair because for me, most of the companies have offices in San Francisco and Palo Alto here in California. And that's really like San Francisco is like 45 minutes away from Berkeley. So there's never a shortage of people to come to career fair, shortage of companies. Plus, I'd say that not just because it's California, but I think the quality of your university also matters. I mean, I wouldn't turn down an opportunity at CMU.
Right, exactly my point. And that will lead us to, this is your next question in advance, that why did you choose UC Berkeley instead of CMU? Like, continue this answer and then we can switch to that.
Yeah. So it's not just about where your university is located, it's also about what you do and what your university is. So CMU is as far away from Silicon Valley as possible. It's not in the Bay Area, it's in Pittsburgh, it's in Pennsylvania. But you wouldn't, as in, no one would turn down a CMU opportunity there. And you would, like, companies will definitely recruit from CMU. So it's the brand name that your university carries. And here at UC Berkeley, that's accentuated because of the brand name and it's in the Bay Area. That's why it's accentuated. It works a similar way for UCLA, UCSD, and stuff like that. So because they have this, they are in the space. They have a lot of career fairs to not career fairs, maybe. It's not just career fairs; it's other events as well. So, for example, just last week, LinkedIn had an open house in San Francisco, and where their managers and hiring managers interacted with students, where you could give their resumes, give them our resumes. So that was really an incredible opportunity. And I think those are the sort of opportunities that are hard to come by for someone not in the Bay Area. I mean, if you're studying someplace else, it would be really difficult. You are not going to travel all the way here for that one open house. But if you're staying this close, that's a good opportunity. And I think that is what gives the Bay Area the advantage of the job. And coming to the next question of UC Berkeley, so I was not really sure whether I wanted to do an industry job or whether I wanted to do academic research. In fact, I'd say that I still am not very sure. I keep oscillating between the two. When I look at my seniors, my interns from Facebook and Google, I was like, oh, okay, I should, it's really cool to work at Facebook. But then when I work on a project, so I'm right now working with a professor from CS on a security-based project. So when I work in the professor, I start coding, I start, testing out different models. And I'm like, oh, it'll be cool to do this. It'll be cool to publish a paper. So stuff like that. So I was confused between the two. And UC Berkeley has a lot of research opportunities as well. Many of the libraries that people use for Python programming, they're built by professors here. The professors here are like really well known. They're like MacArthur Fellows. We have some Nobel laureates, stuff like that. And basically, it has a really good research environment. I'm sure CMU does too, but the CMU course was it had a lot of core courses, and which we had to have to take, and that really would leave less scope for these other activities. And plus, that's my personal opinion that the faculty here, for at least for my field, that's security and machine learning, the faculty here are doing better research. So that's why it was a complicated decision. It's not like it's based on one thing, and of course it's not going to apply to everyone. If someone is pretty sure that they don't want to do a PhD, they don't want to do and they want to do an industry job, then I'd say choose whatever suits you at the UC Berkeley or CMU. But because it's not a one size fit all thing. It was a it has the decision had like various factors in consideration.
I agree with the point that it differs for everyone and it's not the same, and your case cannot ever apply to another one. There's just that chances that it might be a little similar, but it can't be the exact same. Also, yeah, good decision with UC Berkeley, and I make that point a lot that it's just not that um, only because it is in California. Because of that, you should consider that university. The university should be definitely good. A lot of people ask me that should I just go to California for computer science because that's where the Bay Area is. Wha- I would agree that you will get to meet a lot of people, and also a lot of startup founders will come to your university, give startup talks. You might have a little more opportunities than other, but turning down a good offer is never a good idea. So that point stands true. Um,
Pitch in and say that if you look at the any popular rankings, it's not that for CS you'll have all California universities at the top.
right,
So
exactly.
you have UC Berkeley, UCLA, but you also have Georgia Tech, UT Austin, UIUC, CMU. They're as far from the Bay Area as possible, and they're like extremely good schools. So I got rejected from CMU CS. I got rejected from UT Austin CS. I got rejected from Georgia Tech, and I got rejected from UIUC CS. And I got into here, which also says that they have a much higher standard for MSCS. That it's not just not about California.
Right. Agree, 100% agree. I mentioned this in the recent video as well about ranking location. I actually looked down at the top 20 schools for artificial intelligence according to CS rankings, and it there were only like 5 schools which were in the Bay Area, and 15 schools were either on Midwest or like in Texas, East Side. So it does make sense that it's not necessary that if it is in California, that is not a requirement for sure that it will be a good school for computer science. Let's see if I can find a good question for you. Okay, so some of the MIS courses like first of all, are there any courses which are 1 year, and if they are, uh, how would you say that they differ? In my sense, I guess like 1 year courses are strict for people who are working and who might be working for a couple of years. They just want to go to school for 1 year, come back and resume work. What do you think about those 1 year courses? How different are they than the 2 years courses?
So I don't know a lot of 1 year MIS courses, but I have so CMU has a 12-month track for MIS, so that counts as a 1 year course. So what I say about 1 year courses is that like a lot of things. Firstly, they're really hectic. You have to take a lot of credits. You have to take proportionate amount of credits because the way, of course, when you are in the US on an F1 visa, you have to maintain your F1 status, and so there are a certain number of credits that you need to take. So they're really hectic. Secondly, my understanding is that they need some work experience. As I said, they're for people who are just looking to like they're working, looking to upgrade some skills, get a degree, and go back to work right away. So it's for those people. Third is that when you are in a 1 year course, you cannot do an internship here. I think you cannot do, because if you begin in the first semester, when you complete your degree, it's you cannot get a CPT for an internship because your degree is over. If you start in this December, so some people think that if you start in December for a 1 year course, you can do an internship, but you really cannot, because when you start in December, by the summer you haven't completed 9 months in the US and you're still not eligible for a CPT. So that's a drawback. That's a big drawback because you cannot do an internship. You can get an OPT. I'm yeah, most there are STEM courses, so you can get an OPT, but not a CPT. So I do not see a reason, specific reason, unless of course again it depends on your situation, your financial conditions, whether you need to work immediately, whether stuff like that. But in general, I'd say that 1 year courses are really hectic. They need work experience, and you cannot do an internship with 1 year courses because you cannot get a CPT here.
Okay, we're gonna end the live session in like 5 to 6 minutes. I'm gonna take in questions really quickly. I understand and agree with the CPT thing that you need at least 9 months of. That's not even that's not even a choice. It's a mandatory requirement by USCIS that you need 9 months of study or 2 semesters of study before you can do an internship in the summers. So that's my point, like why spring semester um, is not good. If you have worked previously, then definitely it'll be easier for you to get a job, because why not? But if you don't have experience, I would recommend fall semester for everyone who's even thinking or considering about coming to the US. Okay, let me pick up questions really quickly. It might not be related to you, but I just want to answer there. Okay. um Okay, tell me which what's okay. Co-op programs are extended summer internships in a way. It goes for a whole semester. Um, summer as is see there was somebody who was asking if is MEM different than MIS. Definitely, MEM is a lot different. And also, if you're asking about job prospects post MEM, there's a video completely on MEM which I've made with Rachna. Just search for MEM Parth Vijayvergiya and Rachna, and you will find that video. Um, moreover, how to approach jobs in US for experienced students. Once you'll come here, there might be a career fair in fall semester. There might be a career fair in spring semester, and I would say fall semester career fair is actually more as a trial career fair, because you don't know how to talk to people. You will realize that conversations here are different. They're not actually technically super sound. What I mean with that is that you will not talk about the technicalities of your internships. You'll more over talk about the experience which you had at the internships, because that matters. Even at the interviews, they might not even ask about they might do a technical interview, but aside from that they will do in a in-person interview where they're not going to talk about your studies, but the process of your college, the process of your internship, because that matters a lot, and they want to essentially work with someone who who's more capable, or who's a fun person to work with rather than just a book nerd or just a technical person. So that's my thought on how to talk to people in career fair, or how to get a job in career fair, essentially. Anyways, Raj, do you want to say anything? Do you want? We'll end this live session here. Uh, so, just like last minute thoughts, anything?
Yeah, I just like to reiterate by saying that the evaluation is very holistic. So I read a few comments, I read a few questions in the chat, which said that what universities can you suggest for a 300 GRE score? What universities can you suggest for this score? So it's really not based on your GRE score. There is no person who can answer what universities you'll get based on a 300 GRE score. There is also no person who can answer what universities you'll get on a 340 GRE score. If you have a 314 GRE, but you have like really poor academics and no work experience, you still might not get into any good programs. So I just like to tell everyone that it's holistic. What you lack for in one aspect of your profile, in which in my case was work experience, you have to make up in some other, in which in my case I did for GRE. It's not possible for everyone to make it up in the same way. So you can make it up with your projects, you can make it up with a good building by building a good portfolio, getting good recommendations, writing a killer statement of purpose. And yeah, I just thanks Parth, because a lot of students have these questions about MIS, and I had these questions myself last year.
Right.
And I'm sure this has been really helpful for everyone out there. So a big thank you to you.
Yeah,
And
no problem. I'm also linking your Instagram down below in the description. Um, I'm guessing it's gonna blast off with questions, so be ready for that. And Raj also has a YouTube channel. Think I will link that below. I'm not sure if he'll be making more videos on it, but I'll surely link it so that you can watch all the videos he has made. He has made a couple of videos regarding publishing papers, regarding TOEFL, GRE schedule, and everything, and it's worth a watch for sure. So I'm linking it right now, and this whole live video will be up on the channel, so you can watch it later if you want, with the live chat and with the questions. We haven't taken in a lot of questions from the chat, but whatever we have taken, we have answered it perfectly. I'd like to say thank you to Raj as well for taking out the time and being here. I haven't done a live session in a while, so this was completely a worthwhile to do. That's it. That's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching.
And
Um,
take any questions you guys may have, or even, I'm happy to pitch in for your project ideas as well.
right.
Just hit me up anytime.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to give back to the community, which might have helped you the same. That's it. Thank you so much, guys. Have a great night. I'm guessing everybody will be asleep in no time. And take care. Chalo, see you. Bye bye. Stopping the broadcast now.